Matthew here, and in today's episode we're going to be finally setting up the domain side for Server 2012 R2. It's going to be very easy, and we are going to simply assign the server VM from a work group to a domain. And Microsoft actually has its own domain that you can use called contoso.com, and you can use whatever you want, but for most common demonstrations we use Contoso. So we're going to now log in with our administrator password, and we're going to set that up. So we're going to launch into Server Manager straight away, and we're going to set that up. So what we're going to do, we go to configure this local server. From the local server, we go into manage. Once we let this load up, it's going to go into manage. I'm going to click add roles and features, and then finally I'm going to click next. We're going to do a role-based feature install. Going to select the IP address, and then we're going to do the Active Directory domain services. We're also going to need to have the Dhcp server and also DNS server enabled. Now, just to mention, because this is going to be actually set up on a virtual network, there's going to be no internet coming in. So while we remember to do that, we're going to set up a virtual network in Vmware. We're going to go to settings, and we're going to network control. We're going to do a LAN segment, and we're going to call this Active Directory 1. Now, I've already got that because I've done this before, so I'm going to use the same protocol. As you guys can see down here, no connections are available, and it should come up in a second like so. Now we're going to get an IP address that looks a little like 169.254, but we're not going to use that. I'll show you something quickly. If we run cmd and then type ipconfig, let's have a look at something quickly. As you can see here now, we have the 169.254.79.229 protocol. We're not going to use this at all. And this subnet mask is completely different. So the way it's going to work is, once we've installed these roles, we're then going to move on to the next feature. So we're just going to hit next to all of that and install. Then what we're going to do once installed, we're going to enable the domain side of things. We're going to give it a domain name. For instance, we're going to use Contoso. You can use anything you want, .com, .local, .school, whatever. And you also, as well, in your server as well, you set up the IP addresses. So while we're at that, let's do that. So you guys can do whatever you want in the IP address range here. You don't have to use the 169 protocol. So I like the standard 192.168.1. We're going to use .2. And then 1. As you can see, the subnet mask is correct, and we're going to use 192.168.2.0 because, well, why not? You can also assign your gateway to your server as well, like that. We're going to use the local IP address of the server, and finally we're going to use Google's IP address. I know that's not probably, actually no, we will use 192.168.2.1. We'll click close, and we've now assigned a static IP address. There's going to be no internet connection coming in, so that's going to be the reason for it. So as you guys can see now, the install is finished. We're going to promote this to a domain controller and also complete the DHCP configuration. To do that, we're going to go into our post-deployment configuration. We're going to promote the server to a domain controller. And because this is a brand new domain controller, we're going to go to add to a new forest. I'm going to use contoso.com. Actually, I'll do .local, doesn't matter. It's just got to have something in it, no spaces or anything like that. If you're asking what's with the audio quality today, it's actually because I've plugged into a headset, just a cheap little phone connector, because I'm actually at a school library while doing this. Pretty cool, right? That I can do this from anywhere around. So as you guys can see, there'll be no internet access, and that's fine. In the next episode, though, I'll be showing you how to, actually, no, we'll do it in this episode. We'll show you how to add a computer to the domain, provided they're on the same LAN set, segment or on the same network. Now, as you can see here, we have a directory services restore mode password. We're going to use the same password as you log in to the server. So pretty much the password's set, like one password for everything. And you might think that's a bit dangerous in security. Well, not really. So we're going to put in the password here. Like so. We haven't got DNS set up at the moment, so we will just leave that. NetBIOS name will be Contoso in capitals, and this is for computers that are running Windows 2000 and below. But there should not be computers out there today that should be connected to a Server 2012 R2 machine. We're going to leave our paths as default. We're going to, as you guys can see here, we're just going to leave all of our paths where they are. The view, I'm happy with that. And we're going to hit next. And finally, just going to do a domain. It's just going to do some verifying on things like that. And then also what we're going to do as well is we are going to run the DHCP promotion as well while we're at it. So we'll go up to here. We're going to go to complete DHCP configuration. We're going to click commit, and as you can see, done. So that's now finished. And all we're going to do now is finish the domain controller promotion, and it should be finished by now, I hope. It will automatically, once we've installed it, reboot, because it's then taking it from a work group onto another network. As well as DHCP. DHCP is what gives your IP addresses out from the server. So you have a router, which is where you connect to the internet. Your router has a DHCP server that's assigned to it, and that assigns IP addresses. By default, most routers are 192.168.0.1, and they will assign IP addresses out from that server. But we are having this as our DHCP server. So the router, if you had this connected to a router, you'd have DHCP either disabled, or you would tell it to ignore a certain amount of IP addresses. Because the domain controller I use at home, what we do is we have in the DNS records of the router is so it can see the domain controller without having to use the DHCP. So the router at my house uses the DHCP, the DNS, and those two things. But on the domain controller side of things, it also has DHCP, DNS, and Active Directory installed. But the way that works is it installs it. The DHCP server is told to ignore a certain amount of IP addresses as well as the router. So, for instance, we have 192.168.1.2, and then we go all the way up to 192.168.0.188, and that's it. And then the rest of it's done by the DHCP server on the domain controller. Now, for some stupid reason, this is taking forever. I'm just wondering why it's taking. There we go, that's finally. There we go. Finally installed. Going to click close, and it should reboot now, but I'm just going to do it manually. We're going to plan that, and we're going to continue. And in a second, we should reboot and be back up and running through Vmware. So we've now promoted this server to a domain controller. The next stage of this is to set up your DHCP, setting up your DHCP so it sends out a certain IP address to a certain computer, as well as setting up your DNS records as well. Very important that they're set up, otherwise your computer can't see the network, can't see the actual connection to the network. It's pretty clever how it works once you understand. It's taken me about a month to 3 months to understand how this works. So as you guys can see, it says please wait, and that's fine. Windows Server 2012 R2. Now we should be in just a second, and then we'll know if it's promoted to a domain controller or not. It will have contoso.local or .com and then a slash, and then the administrator. As you guys can tell, it will take a little bit of time on the first boot because it's trying to set up some new roles that were on the server, that weren't on the server, that are now on the server. So that's what we're going to do. Active Directory Domain Services, ADS, is what provides the organizations with a scalable, secure, and manageable infrastructure. And then you've got all your things like your certificate services, your rights management services, your lightweight directory services, and all things like that. It's very easy to set up. and it just allows you to do all kinds of things. So you have your not joined to Active Directory, that's what your workplace is like. So this is really designed to be in a business infrastructure, but you can have 3 options: not joined to the Active Directory service. You have limited access and IT control, and you want to have control over your machines. Join to the workplace, device work in IT, governments, and like controlled access to apps. But then if it's domain joined, it has the company owns the device with full control. So as you guys can see here, we're now logged in, so we're just going to log in with our password. As you guys can see now, toso/administrator, and we are now logged in as the still as the administrator, but as the domain. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go down and find our DHCP and also our DNS. And what we're going to do is in the DNS, we'll quickly go to a forward lookup zone. As you guys can see, contoso.local, very easy. We're going to add a new AA host. We're going to put in the name of your server and then the IP address. No, sorry, why am I doing that? 192.168. Then just check what the IP address is again. Local server, it is 2.2. So we'll quickly finish that. 2.2, and actually I'm just going to quickly do that and create a PTR record add host. Cool. We've now done that. We're going to do a reverse lookup zone. This is how you do it. So we're going to create a new zone. Primary zone, this is to all DNS. Yep, that's correct. IPv4. I've never seen a usage of that. So what we're going to do is we're going to actually sign out a network ID. So this is where your IP address comes from. And we're going to put in 192.168.2, which is where it will start off the IP addresses, and then we'll let it do the rest. So allow secure dynamic updates. We're just going to leave everything as default, and we've now set up that. Next thing we're going to do is set up DHCP. Very easy to do. We need to create a scope in the IPv4, and we are then going to go to action. We're going to have to authorize this server. So if I can remember what we need to do, action and then authorize. And then now we can create a new scope. So what we'll then do is we're going to I just call it main scope. You can call this anything you want. I just call it this because I'm boring. We're going to do 192.168.2.3. So we're going to go away from the server. 192.168.2.255. So this is the limit of how many IP addresses can be assigned. The subnet, the length of that is all correct. We're going to click next. The ending. Okay, we'll do 245 then. We can exclude certain IP addresses if we want to. This is just if you limit. This is just when you want the leases to be addressed, so the server won't always constantly be doing it. This means 8 days means it will always be running. Yes, we want to configure the DHCP options now. The router or the default gateway is 192.168.2.2, which is the server. And then, as you guys can see, we've already got our servers in there. We will add, if I do the DC01, resolve and add, next, and you want to activate the scope. So we've now successfully created it, and it's going to run. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to quickly set up a Windows 7 virtual machine, and then we'll continue on from there. Okay guys, so we're back now, and as you guys can see, we have our virtual machine that's now set up, and straight away it sees the contoso.local domain. That's why we needed to set up the domain and setting up the DHCP leasing and also the DNS, so it's all registered to it. So we're now going to just quickly install VMware tools on this VM, just because it's useful, and also will help with screen resolutions and drivers and things like that. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go into the Active Directory again, and we're going to look for in here Active Directory users and computers. You'll access this quite frequently when you create a new user. So as you guys can see, we've got computers, domain controllers, users, and these are all the default users. So what we're going to do now is we're actually going to create a new user. We're going to call this, And we're going to I always just use mblend, because, well, it just works. You must put in a password, but remember, password complexity is still switched on. We can disable that as well to allow users to not even have a password, but I'm just going to use one. And finally, finish. We can also, eventually we will build an organizational unit where all these machines go, and then assigning group policies and things like that. Pretty clever how that works, if I don't say so myself. Right, as I was saying, I just got interrupted. We're going to just pretty much set these two virtual machines up now. We're nearly done. Installing drivers and things like that, as I said, helps a lot. And then, as you guys can see, we've got limited Ethernet access. That's fine. We're purely just showing that we can connect to a domain. Contoso.local is now showing, and this should also show, yeah, that's fine. That really should be showing Contoso.local. But as you guys can see, it's installing drivers and things like that. We've set up a user, and we've also set up computers. The administrator is what will join this this virtual machine, the Windows 7 virtual machine, to the domain. And you can do this to any computer. So what that means is I can run from Windows XP and up, connect to a Server 2012 R2 virtual machine. So we're going to just quickly go ahead, reboot, log in, and then we're going to add this computer to the domain, or should I say virtual machine. And we'll do this one too. There we go. As you guys can see here, this is why I like VMware, because I can do split screen. So yes, here we go. Going to log in, and then here we go. It's not going to do it, is it? Alright, so we'll just quickly expand that out a little bit more. There's the Windows 7 because we didn't have audio in earlier. See if I can make that any smaller. Nope, it's not going to let me. So then what we're going to do as well is I'm just going to have the Server 2012 R2 virtual machine cross like that. So we've now got a user. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to the computer, right click, we're going to go to properties, and then we're going to go to change settings. So then I'm going to click change, go to domain, I'm going to put in Contoso, like that, and we put in the administrator password, and that should connect to the domain. And what we should get as well is that it should come up in the computers once it's successfully connected. Now it might take a second to contact the server, but once we've done that, it should join successfully. Because what's happening right now is these two are talking to each other and they're trying to join. Provided you see your Contoso.local domain, you're most likely going to be in, well, as long as you can see your domain, and these are on the same network, they should most likely connect. If not, you do Contoso.local. I know, I'm nearly done! And there you guys can see, we're just going to simply reboot, restart now, and we can finally join the domain. We're going to just quickly refresh that, and as you guys can see here, I called it user1pc, and that has successfully joined to the domain. Very clever how this little thing works, right? Yeah, it's pretty impressive. So that's that. And now that we have our users set up, in the next episode we're going to be applying group policies and things like that. Pretty quick, fast boot up, as if I don't say so myself, with a Core i7. And then finally we will log in as a domain test user, and then we will hopefully connect to the where's my mouse? There we are. So I've got my mouse, and we're going to do Control-Alt-Delete. Going to switch user, going to go to other user, do the first one, like so. Boom. We have now we're about to prepare the desktop. In the next episode, I will be showing you how to map network drives, how to apply backgrounds, all kinds of things through your group policy, disabling Task Manager. You can lock it down as much as you want to with your domain accounts. So that's, yeah, we'll leave you. But there, as you guys can see, we are now logged in as a system, and we're logged in as a user. And as you guys can see, user1 PC Contoso.local, which means this has been successfully joined to the domain. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Thank you guys for watching once again, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye for now.